everybody. How y'all doing out there? Oh, so we had a wonderfully eventful day. I got up. Actually, the first thing I did when I got up was start a load of laundry, but for some reason that file was corrupt, so you didn't get to see that excitement. Then I went into my office here and I did my property taxes. I have a PayPal credit account. I paid that clear off and pay my property taxes, and I go outside.
Okay.
Mrs. Eccleberry saw me. She had to stop and talk for a while. She thinks her dog has the coronavirus, or had it, and that was some conversation. Then it was time to go feed the livestock. So that's what I'm doing here. Anyway, I'll tell you more about Mrs. Eccleberry. She's talking about her dog, how sick she was last week, and she says, I says, well, you know, they have found 2 dogs with a case of coronavirus now. And she goes, oh, I know. She thinks that's what her dog had. And I said, well, the only thing is both dogs that tested positive showed no symptoms of being sick. She goes, by golly, she was sick. She was sick as a dog last week. Oh, it was awful. She was going on about it. And, you know, I'm like, thinking to myself, you know, well, your dog had something else, bub. You know? But, you know, what can you do? Anyway, one of my good friends told me to check because that black rabbit wasn't drinking enough. And said maybe the thing's plugged. And I don't know if it was or not, but now the black rabbit's drinking from it. But he's got a bad technique. All the other rabbits use their tongue to push that ball up in there and get a drink. This one will play around with it till he gets it to drip, and then he starts kind of just sucking the drip off the end of it, and it just doesn't work that well. And then I went out to the garden and started tilling again. If you look at it there, you can see there's a lot of grass coming up. That's not crops. That's grass growing, and there's a lot of it. And so all I know, I planted peas earlier. I think that's probably a lost cause because they're going to get choked out with all this grass. So I figure I may as well just go ahead and till it again and wait a couple days and till it again and until finally we hopefully kill off all that grass in there, because I mean there's so much. And that little tiller, it's just an electric tiller. It only digs about a 1/4 inch deep each time you make a pass. And so, you know, it takes a little while to get much done with it because it wasn't plowed or anything. Well, that would have really helped, but it wasn't. I didn't have a way to plow it at the time. And so it's doing its fair share of work. I'll give it that. Bad thing about it, you got a cord to contend with. Good thing about it is you can just pick the thing up and move it around because it doesn't weigh that much. But, you know, that's life, you know. And then I thought, oh, crap, it's getting late. About time for John to get home from work. So I thought I better cook dinner. So I started cooking. As you can see here, if you watch, I cook dinner and I wash dishes at the same time. And I do that. If my dinner doesn't take both hands and the whole time to cook, then I try to multitask, get the cooking done, do something else. Right there beside me is the dishes, so I do the dishes. You know, it's funny. You know, I started a load of laundry, and then I did my taxes and that, and then I played with the laundry again and went out and did the livestock, and then I tilled the garden. I went and did the laundry again, and then go over here and start cooking and washing dishes. And I can remember being married. You come home from work and go, "Aw, nothing to eat." You're thinking, why didn't she cook? And then she'll say how hard she worked. Oh my God, she had to do dishes and do the laundry. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Yeah, you know. I don't know. I guess, you know, the females, they got to rub themselves up against the washer, you know. That's going to take some time. But I think they spend most of their time just staring off into the abyss. And I think they work so hard. But I shouldn't talk like that. I'm sorry. See, I'm divorced and single, and you know, I guess, you know, my opinion shouldn't be listened to, because obviously my marriage didn't last. Well, at least not more than 27 years. It's John talking in the background. He didn't want to come in. He didn't want to come into the clubhouse because he thinks he's maybe got the coronavirus. And I told him, you got it, I got it, Keaton's got it, we all got it.
Get a hold of monsters, then we can hire some people.
Voila! How about that? Tomato, basil, penny stuff, green beans, French cut, and mashed potatoes.
So anyway, John, yesterday, if you watched yesterday's video, John comes home from work and he talks about how there was this woman who was at work and she was going on about how tired she was, and she started talking about how she was tired because her brother-in-law's got the coronavirus and she has to take care of him, you know, in all her spare time, and then turn around and come to work and do her work. And they sent her home, but you know, there she was with everybody working, you know. And then today, if that ain't bad enough, today, around here it's kind of a known thing that there's a nurse that was supposed to go into quarantine. She got in trouble because she decided to go to work anyway. Well, it turned out that her husband works at John's plant. Oh! And today was his 13th day in a row that he ignored the quarantine and went to work anyway. So I'll tell you what, things ain't looking too good in Tuscarawas County. I figure there's already well over 700 cases in Ohio, positive, tested. So, woo. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see y'all later. Lockdown!